Right. Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be another, I guess, separate episode. Uh, we're going to be Dylan and I are going to be recapping the first round of the NBA playoffs. Just kind of go through each series, give our thoughts, I guess. We don't have to go like, super detailed or whatever. We don't want to, but just kind of break down the first round, then maybe talk about the second round a little bit too. So, um, yeah, I guess probably a good way to start it off with our teams, I guess. Obviously, both of our teams had relatively, you know, well, actually, your team more than my team, but relatively laid back first round matchups. Do you want to take it with your team, or do you want me to go?
No, it's all right. I'll take it. So, I mean, we versed the Grizzlies, right? Easy sweep. That's what I expected. It was an easy sweep until Ja Morant went out, I would say. Or it was a harder sweep until Ja Morant.
Yeah.
The second he was out, it kind of just seemed like it was over for the Grizzlies, and they lost all momentum. There was a time where I actually thought we weren't gonna sweep when they were up pretty good on us. And then we came back. John Morant got hurt. Pretty easy sweep. That's what I expected. And we're moving on.
Yeah. I will say, I think if Ja didn't get hurt game three, I think they would have won that game. And then, he said that if he didn't get hurt, that it would have been 2-2 heading into game five. I don't think they would have won game four. And you can argue that I think they lost by what, two game four. They were right there till the end. They lost by, one possession with Ja not out. They would have won with him there, but I think the counter to that is Scottie Pippen Jr. went off. He had like 30. I don't think he scores that much of Jaws in the game. Probably would have off balance with Jaws output. Um, but yeah, I think the series is kind of what most people expected. Thunder, I think if people didn't have the Thunder sweeping, they had them gentlemen sweeping, losing one game, winning in five. I mean, I didn't expect I said four. I expected a sweep, but I didn't expect them to win by what 55 like game one. In game two, the Grizzlies. Not that the bar is very high. They fought back a bit better. Only lost by I want to say like 17, something like that. Somewhere in that range, I think, off the top of my head, if I remember right. Then obviously game three just talked about went down to the wire. You guys came back. I think you guys around 29. Then game four, kind of back and forth. Grizzlies or OKC had the lead most of the game. Grizzlies went on a run late, but OKC closed it out. So, I think this series kind of went how everyone expected, pretty much. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, my team against the Magic. Interesting series. You just look at, the series itself, five games, you might think relatively easy. I was not as what's not I don't want to say confident, optimistic. Basically most people thought, at least in the Celtics fan base, thought, oh, easy sweep. Maybe we'll drop a game at most, but we should be blowing this team out most games. The Magic have played us tougher than most teams the past couple of years. Not okay, maybe not tougher, but the Magic played us tough the past couple of years. We struggle against them when we kind of split the past couple of years. If you add up the record, the win loss with us and the Magic, I said five. I thought the Magic would get one, but I thought this would be an interesting series because the Magic play really good defense. They take away the three. I believe they're the top 3-point defense in the league. I think number two overall. Pretty sure you guys are number one overall. And we struggled from three most of the series, and that's obviously as we just saw last night, shooting 60 against the Knicks. Oh my god, 63s. That's absolutely insane. More insane that we missed 45 of them. But that's our strength, shooting threes. So we had to win in other ways. The games were close. Even we won, I think, by 17 game one. I was at that game. We were down at the half. The Magic went on a run. We were down at the half. Then the third quarter, fourth quarter, we kind of took it over. Game two, we didn't have Tatum. Kind of like game four against the Grizzlies for you guys. We had the lead, but they were right there. Then we ended up closing it out, winning the game. Game three, we lost. We scored 11 points in the third quarter. That was probably the most horrendous offensive basketball quarter I've ever seen. It makes our game last night against the Knicks in the second half, jacking up threes, look good compared to that performance. Fourth quarter, we flipped a switch, turned it on a bit, tied it late, but the Magic ended up winning. That was a tough loss. Even though the refs completely screwed us with the time on the clock, should have hit it at least point 0.7 or point 0.8. They screwed us there. Game four, we won, hard fought, tied, and I'm like, are we seriously about to blow the game 2-2? We went on a run. Then game five, like I was just talking about in our last video, we come out games like we're heavily favored, should win, really no chance or no reason the other team should win, and we come out flat. That's exactly what happened to start game five. Magic winning the 50-50 balls, the hustle plays, things like that. And then Paulo was in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls. As soon as he went to the bench, we just took over the game. We turned back into the Celtics. We're hitting threes left and right, can't miss. We just blew them out. People expected game five, I think, to be like the whole series pretty much. But give credit to the Magic. I mean, their shooting is Jesus. I mean, they have zero shooting outside of, and obviously they have Wagner, one of the Mo Wagner and Suggs. They're out, so obviously that makes it more difficult. But Franz Wagner and Paul were literally their whole offense. They had no shooting outside of those two guys. But defensively, they presented us with challenges, and I will say, honestly, I'm happy we got the experience with the defense there because I think both of our teams are still going to meet up in the finals, and you guys are going to play us tight defensively, obviously, and try to take away the three. So it's good that we got experience with probably a similar defense to how you guys are going to play against us. And obviously, you guys are very much better than the Magic. So I guess it's good we got it out of the way, got experience against the Magic compared to, experiencing like the first time against you guys. But yeah, hard fought series, 5 games, but yeah, solid series win, even though we could not hit threes until game five.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that the Magic, they're not that team yet, but like I said, that they're a tough. I mean, you basically said it too. They're a tough team. I mean, that team is maybe a couple pieces away from looking pretty scary in the next coming years. I like what they're building over there. I like how Paulo and all that team and Wagner, of course, is operating pretty well. I do want to see them get another piece. I'm pretty shocked to see maybe possibly like Giannis is on the move. I know there's a lot of Giannis rumors coming out this year. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, you're right. They need a little bit more shooting, and maybe that comes from Paulo. I want to see a little bit more. See if he can, work on his game a little bit in the summer, and see if he could start developing a little bit of a 3-point shot. I mean, there's a prospect who, I mean, went number one overall, had a pretty good summer league, pretty good couple years in the NBA so far. I mean, that's the thing. I want to see him develop a little bit more of that 3-point shot. See if he can take a little bit more in the regular season, maybe next year, and maybe surround him even with some of the premier free agents that are coming out within shooting. Um,
Yeah.
maybe surround him with somebody that fits the mold. So I'm excited to see what the Magic do this offseason. I think I don't know if they have any other picks in the first round besides this year. They might have another pick due to lottery rights or something like that. But anyway, I think that they're looking good for the next couple of years, and I think they're a team that is on the rise. And if their management just stays the course, makes maybe decent moves, little signings that could turn into big value. I like the upside of the Magic in the upcoming years.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem with the Magic have is Orlando just isn't, at least in terms of the NBA, isn't a big free agent destination. 'Cause they're such a small market. They like barely get games nationally televised. And obviously the big market is with the Heat in Miami, at least in the NBA. That's the problem the Magic have. But yeah, they're a very under the radar team for sure. I guess we'll get another series out of the way. Cavs Heat. I mean, bloodbath is basically a good way to summarize that. I thought the Heat could actually make it interesting. I didn't think the Heat at all could win the series, but I thought the Heat could make it interesting. Maybe like win a game or two. Game one, they were kind of just hanging around. They lost. Game two, they were down big. They cut it to too late. Then the Cavs went on it. Mitchell bailed them out that game. I don't think the Cavs made a single shot in the fourth quarter except Donovan Mitchell. Game three was a bloodbath. And game four was, I mean, they just gave up. That was bad. That was just a bloodbath of a series, and that's what happens when a 35 win team that's the 10 seed in the regular season makes the playoffs.
Yeah. For the Heat, it's funny. I called this. I knew that they were going to beat the Bulls. I thought the Bulls just didn't have the firepower with that team to really contend with what the Heat were doing. So I was pretty high on the Heat coming into the play-in. They beat the Bulls. They beat the Hawks, who I think were always fraudulent and a little bit injured in that sense. But yeah, the Heat they go into Cleveland and get absolutely destroyed. I think I actually had it 4-0 as well, but I had them getting to the point where they're just the eighth seed. I mean, they go into the eighth seed and they just get destroyed. So, I mean, good for the Heat to play in those big games to try to get a little bit more, action, but I mean, doesn't result in enough. Nothing more to say here for the Heat. I mean, they had a really good opportunity, but the Cavs are just a overall better team anyway. So
Yeah,
uh, take it to the offseason for them too.
yeah. I should have known better than to have picked against the Heat. So I just picked the Bulls to beat them. And of course, like right off the bat, it's like, here we go with the Heat. They get off to a red hot start, and it's like just something clicks in the playoffs. And I'm like, here we go. And then they were up big against the Hawks. They kind of blew it. That game went to overtime. They won. Um, but yeah, should have known better to pick against the Heat. Especially as a freaking Celtics fan, they'd have a team of like elementary school YMCA children on the basketball team. They would somehow like win two play-in games. It's absolutely friggin' ridiculous. But yeah, that was just a bloodbath. Um, Pacers. I'm watching the Pacers make it a sort of a game here. As Mitchell got a nasty poster in this game. But I just completely lost my train of thought. We just did the last time I was talking about the Pacers. Oh yeah, Pacers Bucks. That was a very interesting series. I would say it was probably close to an even split. Like from what I saw, probably like 60-40 in the Pacers' favor, but a decent amount of people had the Bucks, and it made sense logically. You say, all right, well, they won two games last year. They didn't have Dame. Giannis missed time. Assuming Dame was going to come back, it looked like, and then obviously they had Giannis. So it kind of made sense as to, the logic for people picking the Bucks. I had Pacers in six. Really should have gone six. The Bucks completely just Doc Rivers blew it in style game five. But yeah, I think the series, I don't know, kind of went how I expected. Giannis went off, had no help besides Gary Trent. Game three went off, and then Gary Trent went off game five, and yeah, he went off, could not miss in the fourth quarter. He was kind of struggling prior to that. Overtime, he couldn't miss. And then the Pacers down like seven, with like 33 seconds left. They score a few points. Gary Trent has the turnover. Halliburton gets the layup, and the Bucks lose in classic Doc Rivers fashion. But yeah, a lot of questions coming out of Milwaukee. You mentioned Giannis might be on the move. I mean, he should be. I'm not a big Giannis fan as a Celtics fan, but I mean, I feel bad for him. He has no help whatsoever. The pairing with Dame obviously didn't work. Dame just towards Achilles, so he's going to miss next season. Hopefully, he comes back fully healthy like KD did. But the Bucks are old. I don't think they have too many picks left. They have Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham as their top two coaches, so that's a problem. They just have a lot of problems. Giannis needs to just get out of there. It looks like he might just stay there, which I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this was completely wrong for me. I had the Bucks, I think I think I had them in six. I think I had the Bucks in six or something from our prediction video. Boy, did I sleep on the Pacers. I think that the Pacers, I mean, they came in and did a pretty good job. The only thing is, I do think that there were some games in there that you could kind of pinpoint and say the Bucks probably should have had that one. I mean, I forgot which one it was. There was like one or two games in that series where I was like, oh boy, like here we go. The Bucks are looking good. And then boom, just like in an instant, the Pacers somehow just took over and they won in the late game situations. So I think that was a huge problem for the Bucks. And I know it's frustrating for Giannis and everybody there because, like you were saying, Giannis was going off. I mean, that's what I predicted. I predicted Giannis to just go into the paint and do his thing, maybe spread the floor a little bit, see what he could do. And it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. The Pacers have a lot of talent on that team, and they're moving on. And I know you're watching the game right now too, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they can do against the Cavs or how far that series is going to go. Um, so we'll see. I mean, Pacers are. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, no one expected them to make the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I think with the Bucks injuries when they happened, people expected them to beat the Bucks. I don't think many people expected them to beat the Knicks at all. Um, and then even though we swept them, that was like one of the closest sweeps in NBA history. But yeah, that was an entertaining series, even though it was only 5 games. But yeah, there were a couple games in there where the Pacers were up, the Bucks were coming back to here we go, and then the Pacers ended up holding on, playing well in crunch time. But yeah, that was an interesting series. Uh, what's yeah, Knicks Pistons. That was another good series. Okay, I honestly think the Pistons outplayed the Knicks in the series, and obviously that might sound stupid because they lost the series, but let's just go game by game. Game one, the Pistons are up pretty much the whole game, and the Knicks go on a 21-0 run. If they don't go on that run, they lose the game. Game two, the Pistons won. Okay, game three, I think the Knicks outplayed them. I think they deserved that game. Game four, the refs made a ridiculous. Well, it's the call they didn't make was the bad call. With Hart fouling Hardaway, should have been free throws. Then the Knicks would have had like a second and a half, something around that time frame to get a shot off. Maybe Brunson probably pulled something out of his ass, maybe not. But let's just assume the Pistons win that game. They won game five. And then game six, they're trailing, then they go on a run. They're up, I think, seven with like 2.5 minutes left, and they lost the game. They blew it. The Knicks were, to me, it just felt like the Pistons were just the better team. And they, no, again, Knicks were pretty much fully healthy. Well, Brunson got banged up, but he played. Um, they didn't have Ivy, they didn't have Stewart. To me, I think it I really wish it went seven. That would have been interesting to see how that played out. But Pacers as I'm watching, that's why I just said Pacers. Oh shit, the Cavs are starting to pull away. But Pistons, nothing really to be ashamed about. Hell of a season, more than tripled their win total. Won 2 games against the Knicks, who, are the 3 seed, 51 regular season wins. Nothing to be ashamed about. Very bright future for the Pistons.
And you're absolutely correct. I don't think there was a higher person on the Pacer or on the Pistons than I was. I was so high on the Pistons entering that series. I actually had the Pistons, I think, in six. I was so high on the Pistons. I knew that they could compete with the Knicks. And you were like, you go game by game, like it's ridiculous. I mean, there are so many little games that the Knicks just grinded out. And I mean, good for the Knicks, but like you're right, like the Pistons outplayed that team completely. And I was trying to tell everybody about, these Pistons, like, there's a little bit of momentum here. Like they're getting into these playoffs, and it seems like the Knicks are a pretty good matchup for them. And I think they could win a decent amount of games. That call on Josh Hart was a joke. If it was any other player in the NBA besides Tim Hardaway Jr. shooting that three, I think there's a huge debate around like let's say a superstar got fouled there. That call is being made. I mean, it's that call is being made if there's a superstar taking that corner three. I hated that. And the NBA refs sometimes pick players to call fouls for. I mean, that's a lot of times I call superstar calls. I hear a lot of that. But like it sucks because the Pistons were right there. They played well. They got all the way back up within that game, and then there was a foul called on that three, and it's like they were only down by one at the time. So frustrating. And then the other 2 games, like you said, like the huge run that they had. I mean, there was so many good opportunities for the Pistons to take this series, and you know, just with that being said, I mean, it kind of leaked a little bit into the Celtics second round a little bit with their luck. We'll see how we'll see how the Knicks operate. I mean, I think me and you have pretty much have the same prediction. I have Celtics in 5 or 6 in this next coming series, but I think that the overall standpoint of where the Pistons are is very, very like interesting just to see how that team. I mean, you have a really good superstar in the making with Cade Cunningham. I love how they're trying to build something around him with Tim Hardaway Jr., uh, Jalen Duren. I love this young Pistons team. There are a lot of guys on that team that are very underrated, and I'm all for it. I love it. I love that
Yeah.
team.
And
Hard
Schroeder's
not.
another important piece too. Yeah, he's like the glue to every solid playoff team. Like he played a great role with the Lakers a couple years ago, and he was on the team. It just seems like wherever Schroeder goes, unless the team's like tanking, he's been on a couple of shitty teams past few years. But if it's like a solid team making the playoffs, like he plays a pivotal role. It feels like. Um, so that's the East. The West had a couple good series. I think the best series was Clippers Nuggets. See, that one literally could have gone either way. I remember I talked about it in our predictions video. I had Clippers in six. I'm like, I could see the Clippers winning. I could see them dominating the series. I could see the Nuggets winning, dominating the series. I'm like, I could see it going seven. After game one, I'm like, yeah, I should have said Clippers in seven. I'm like, I had a feeling it was going seven. Game one's pretty much all the games are crazy except game three. The Clippers got a blowout win. Game four, absolutely insane. The end of the game, Clippers down big, storm back. Aaron Gordon gets a tip in with friggin' point one left on the clock, like literally razor thin. Um, and then yeah, as soon as it went seven, though, I felt fairly confident with the Clippers. And start of the game, they were up 6-0. You could just tell the way. Obviously, 6-0 is like nothing, but you could just tell the way the game started. It's like the Clippers were locked in. It's like I felt confident, and then the Nuggets just friggin' steamrolled them from like the second quarter on. Harden was in Game Seven Harden mode. Um, and yeah, just very disappointing for the Clippers. But credit to the Nuggets. Interim head coach David Adelman, give him credit. Uh, I mean, he just won a playoff series. He's been the head coach like less than a month in real time, I think. Give credit to, and it was over the Clippers too. A really solid team. I think most people expected them to or pick them to beat them. So give Adelman credit. Credit to the Nuggets. That was a hell of a series. But Clippers just another brutal playoff exit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the blame, it's funny. I think a lot of the blame's on James Harden. Everybody's blaming James Harden. But like, I mean, you can't rely. I mean, he picked up momentum going into these playoffs, but you can't rely on James Harden. I mean, to be that beneficiary player for you like the entire way. Like I see a lot of Clippers fans, blaming him and throwing him under the bus, but I think you just got to look at like the Nuggets are a good team. Like they're a good team. So. I think with them winning, it didn't come as a surprise to me. I had the Nuggets winning that series, but like I said the same thing. It could go either way, right? Russell Westbrook got revenge on his former team. Everybody's saying the same thing about the last game, how he's going to OKC and he's going to get revenge on his former team. Yeah, no way. But I mean, they had a really good run. The Clippers, they brought them all the way to seven. There was opportunity maybe to take that game, but no. I don't know. I think the Clippers, I mean, they gave up a lot of those picks to OKC. So are they going to try to, sell guys high to try to, accumulate a couple picks for the upcoming years? Like, what's their, it's going to be interesting to see where the Clippers go from here because they gave up a lot of their future for the Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And I mean, you go into the offseason, I mean, you have to sell your pieces high. So you do have, some good pieces on that team like Zubac and Harden. And I mean, it's such a work in progress for them. So we'll see where they go. And Steve Ballmer inviting all those Clippers fans out for game 7 just to get humiliated, I think is
Yeah, that's
just the
tough.
cherry on top of the season for them. So
Yeah. Warriors Rockets also went seven. That was the series I picked the Warriors. I felt like fairly confident. And when of course, when they went up 3-1, I'm like, okay, yeah, like I figured the Rockets would win game five. And I'm like, I feel pretty strong that the Warriors would close it out in six. When they didn't, I'm like, all right, I think they'll win game seven, but I'm like, are they seriously about to blow another 3-1 lead? But I think Houston's just inexperience showed the Warriors. Curry, scoring wise, wasn't doing too much. And then he started to get hot in the second half. Uh, friggin' why am I blanking on his name? Buddy Hield got red hot. I think he made the most, either made or tied the record for the most threes in Game 7. Freaking ridiculous. The Rockets. kind of ran into a similar problem the Magic had. Not as bad as the Magic, but offense just killed them. Shooting killed them. Their offense obviously isn't as bad as the Magic, but defensively they were fine. Really good defense. Ime Udoka, defensive coach. Love Ime. He's a Celtics fan, obviously. Um, but yeah, I mean, Dave Şengün, he's just trying to get something going in the paint. Jalen Green played awful this series outside of game two. Uh, Obviously everyone's shitting on him. But yeah, Rockets, obviously on paper it looks bad. 2 seed losing to a 7 seed, losing game seven at home. The Warriors really aren't a true 7 seed since they got Butler. They're one of the better teams in the league record wise. So not as bad as it looks on paper. Tough loss, tough loss for the Rockets. There we go. Yeah, could have gone either way. They almost came back down 3-1, and even when they were down 3-1, the games they were losing were close games they should have won. Like game four, they should have. They blew a lead. Game one, they were down big. They almost came back. They lost. Uh, Game three was close, if I remember right. Yeah, tough series for the Rockets, but they have a very bright future. I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rockets were going to be a good team coming up in the West in the next couple of years, of course. I mean, it's hard to just go against the experience of these Warriors. It's only fitting to see another, Golden State Warrior setting another three-point record. So, of course, that's what happens when you verse the Warriors. Of course, somebody else does a three-point record. But yeah, Sengun, he got a lot of points in the paint because he's just a tall man. I mean, he really like set himself up for a lot of 2-point shots because he was versing guys like Draymond Green in the paint, or he would get a switch onto another like little guard, right? Um, it's weird because Sengun, like you'll see like all of his points are like more of like floaters and he's scoring points like that. Like that seemed to be the Rockets like kind of momentum with Sengun just getting those easy points. But the Warriors just had another dimension of offense with, everybody moving quick. Draymond, Pav, Padwisky or whatever how you say his name, Buddy Hield. These guys are like perimeter stretchers. So, I mean, the way that these guys were able to stretch the floor, take Sengun a little bit out of place on defense, cause him a little bit to be a liability. I think it was hard for the Rockets to kind of match up defensively. So, it was pretty interesting to see how like Curry only had like 3 points or something in the first half, and then he takes off for another 20 in the late game. And that's what I'm talking about. Like in these game sevens, is it comes down to star power, but it also comes down to like the guys who've been in that experienced situation like that. And that's why I think it was hard to go against the Warriors in this last stretch here in this last matchup.
Hmm.
But I think I mean the Warriors are moving on, and it's pretty amazing that the Minnesota Timberwolves, as the 6th seed, have home court advantage
Yeah.
against the 7th seed Warriors. I mean that's incredible. Pretty interesting to see how that all shapes out. But I'm pretty scared of the Timberwolves. That's all I got to say. And if you want to talk, we could talk about that one going into the
Yeah.
next.
Yeah, well, another reason I was pulling for the Clippers, obviously I picked them. B, I thought they would lose against you guys. I had you guys beating them in six, but I thought they would make it a like a better series and put up more of a fight than the Nuggets would. Maybe I'm wrong, because obviously the Nuggets just won last night, but um yeah, I mean, no one expected the 6 seeded Timberwolves to have home court advantage. Well, first of all, most people, I think like 90% of the people in the ESPN bracket picked the Lakers to beat the Timberwolves. I had Lakers in six. I even saying six, I was like, I honestly like want to say five, and I'm like, I'll give the Timberwolves an extra game. It was the opposite. The Timberwolves gentlemen swept them. No one expected that, I don't think. And again, it was seeding wise, it's a bit misleading. The Timberwolves only had one less win than the Lakers had in the regular season, so it's a bit misleading seeding wise. But yeah, I mean, game one, Timberwolves won. Lakers just kind of looked a bit rusty, looked a little off. So, no one really was too worried. Then game two, Lakers took control. They won. Game three, close. Timberwolves closed it out. Game four, close. Timberwolves closed it out. Everyone was obviously shitting on Reddick for playing the same starters the whole second half there. And then game five, the Lakers for the most part just looked lifeless. They just looked like they had given up. and it was close late, and the Timberwolves won again. So yeah, I'm shocked that the Timberwolves, first of all, won, and especially in five. Um, I'm just shocked. I'm going to be happier, but my point, I was going to say, the Timberwolves, I think, are the last team in the West that can legitimately challenge you guys to win the West and get to the finals. I think you'll beat the Nuggets. If the War, I don't think the Warriors are going to get past the Timberwolves. If they somehow do, I think you guys will beat them. So I think it pretty much down to the Timberwolves if it's a team not named Oklahoma City making it out of the West. But yeah, very surprised, pleasantly surprised. Obviously, I hate the Lakers and Celtics, man. I don't like LeBron at all, obviously. So I was very pleasantly surprised as a Celtics fan watching the Wolves Lakers series play out.
Yeah, I mean the Wolves just destroyed every single part of the Lakers there, and I think people aren't giving enough credit to Rudy Gobert, and I don't think they ever have in a while because he was a lockdown force in that paint in this series. I think the media does a really bad job of categorizing this as like the Anthony Edwards show. Like I know he's fun to like root for. I know he's exciting here and there, but I mean this with the entire team, how they collectively did everything together to, Luca. I'm gonna switch a little bit here. Like Luca was such a liability on defense, and I know he's been getting a lot of hate, and he deserves it because it's awful. I'm watching that series. I'm seeing Luca just like not switching. I'm seeing him just getting lazy in the paint, just kind of like backing off. Anybody wants a rebound, like he's not gonna get it unless it comes right to him. Then he'll decide to maybe jump if he feels like it. I mean, it was a joke watching Luka Doncic in the playoffs. He'll and another thing that people don't talk about either is his turnovers. His turnovers were careless. It was his passing was awful. Luca, like, I mean, Nico Harrison's probably, I mean, ecstatic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why they traded him because you don't win championships like that. And it's so frustrating because I had the Lakers going to the freaking Western Conference Finals,
Yeah,
and
me
I mean,
too.
I know you did too. So it was, I mean, we both had the Lakers going pretty far in the playoffs. And losing in the first round to a team who was actually pretty proven last year to advance. Um, I don't know, man. I mean the Timberwolves, they're good. I think they're gonna blow past the Warriors. Like you said. I think it's five, maybe four. I won't go as far to say four. I'll give a little bit more respect to the Warriors, but I think it's gonna be five or six at most. So I think that's a safe bet right there, and I would not be shocked if I see the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals versus the Thunder. So, I mean, it's gonna be very interesting with how everything shapes out. But, um, with the Lakers, I mean, you got to get another run at it. You got to. I think LeBron will play another year. I think the way he's kind of like setting himself up to say like this is gonna be his last. The next year is gonna be his last year. But I think we're gonna see another LeBron Luca run again, and then if that doesn't work out, then it seems like it's gonna be the build around Luca show for the next couple of years for the Lakers. So we'll see how everything goes, but I want to jump the gun.
Yeah. And Rob Pelinka said that, we're going to be LeBron expects championship level roster, and he said they're going to be making moves for that to happen. Now, the Mark Williams trade getting voided, I think everyone kind of figured it was going to bite the Lakers at some point, but and we maybe obviously in hindsight it's easy to say now, but maybe we should have saw it coming this series. The Timberwolves playing their double big. Well, Randall's sort of a big, but obviously Rudy. They have no one size wise to guard Rudy, and he looked like prime Shaquille O'Neal game five, getting friggin' every rebound, putting everything back. Everyone's shitting on Redick for not playing Hayes, and it's like, yes, there's Redick talked about a trade off with the shooting, but it's like, Jesus, you're getting freaking killed on the boards. It's like you might as well at least throw him in there and see what he has to offer. But yeah, LeBron's definitely playing another year. I'm sure he'll dramatize it and just, oh, I'm not sure. Things like he did the prior year when everyone knew he was coming back. He just wanted the attention off of him getting gentleman swept in round one, just like he got gentleman swept this year in round one. Um, and then what he got hurt at the end of the I don't know if it was at the end of the game. He got hurt in the last game. He's like limping. I think it was like a torn, I want to say MCL or something. Maybe it wasn't that severe, but it was something where he would have been out a couple weeks. So LeBron's probably like licking his chops, like, yes, injury excuse for why I lost yet again. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens to the Lakers. I assume they're just gonna go all out, screw their future over, because obviously LeBron's not gonna be playing too long. They're gonna want to win the title like ASAP. So I'm sure Luka will stay, but yeah, they'll be an interesting team moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, 100%. I'm excited to see how the Lakers build around LeBron. Like what are they going to do in free agency? What are they going to do in the draft to try to contribute to that rebounding and that extra piece of like physicality in the paint, you know? I yeah, like Jackson Hayes, like you might as well like throw him. I mean, come on. You got to throw him in there. I mean, you're getting killed on the boards. You got to you're matching up with the Timberwolves who have, huge men in pause, huge men in the paint, but like I mean, come on, you gotta rebounding is such an essential part of a roster. And that's why last year, I mean, I'm not to go back on the Thunder, but that's why I was huge on this Hartenstein signing. But going back to Timberwolves, um, you gotta, pay for a big man. You gotta draft a guy, like scout guys overseas. Like you gotta do what you gotta do. And they're gonna find somebody to hold down that paint because they needed it in this playoff series.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty good first round. Like they had a game on every other day, so I mean every day. So that was nice to watch as an NBA fan. And obviously the series, it's a best of seven series. NFL is just obviously one and done, so it's entertaining, entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, do you want to end this one here? Then we can boot up another one before we get kicked out.
Yeah, sure.
All right.